Okay, let us start. Om Sadashivasamaramabham Shankaracharya Asmadacharyaparyantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Okay. Any questions, clarifications, or is all fine? Remember, we are.
I have a question.
Shoot.
With respect to verse 12, where we stopped.
Sorry, you are not clear. What is that?
I have a question with respect to verse 12, where we stopped.
Which verse?
Verse 12.
Verse 10.
12.
12, okay. Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasat, okay, yeah.
Yes. Now, could we understand this renunciation of results of action?
Yeah.
Mean focusing on action to attain knowledge, which becomes a meditative exercise. If you were to read this verse together with 33 of the previous chapter, where he says, Nimitta matram bhava savya sachi. I was trying to conjointly read the two verses. Does this make sense?
No. The connection is with what has gone immediately before.
Okay.
Yeah. So, here when he is saying karma phala tyaga, he is referring to karma yoga there.
Okay.
Yeah. Nimitta matram is also referring to karma yoga, but contextually the connection here is with the preceding verses, immediately preceding, not the 33rd verse of the Das. Yeah. Because nimitta matram is a more global statement. Whereas this is, yeah?
Sorry, I have one more question then.
Yeah, is this clear? Is this part of it clear?
Yeah, it is. I understood. Yes,
yeah.
Thank you. But then in that case, why does he refer to renunciation of results of action?
What do you think renunciation of results of action is?
Attachment to the result, phala.
So, what does that imply? See, as I have always said, karma phala tyaga, okay, is a technical expression.
Okay.
As a technical expression, it refers to not literally detachment to the result of action. You are doing an action because you want the result. Let us make this very, very clear. Nobody is going to do an action if they don't expect a result. There is always a result expected. Without expectation of a result, nobody does anything. Even things that you are doing to pass the time, what you call mungfali activities, time packs activities, also you do to pass the time. Therefore, there is a result expected. Therefore, without expecting results, nobody does anything. Therefore, karma phala tyaga cannot be taken literally as karma phala tyaga. As literal renunciation, it cannot be taken, should not be taken. Now, those who want to make it secular will say focus on the action, not on the result, etc. That is when you are interpreting the Gita for management expert. You say process orientation, not outcome orientation, etc. That's okay. That's only half the thing. Okay. That only ensures some sort of efficiency, nothing more than that. It doesn't assure growth. For growth to happen, this has to be taken technically as referring to karma yoga buddhi. The attitude of Ishvara Arpanam when it comes to the action and Prasada Buddhi when it comes to the result. Only that will ensure that you grow as a person.
So the motivating factor is only growth?
Nope. The larger motivation, the big picture motivation is growth. The immediate focus is the result. But when you are focusing on the result, that result is tied up with your priorities. If it is not in keeping with your priorities.
Okay.
Now again, when I say priorities, people misunderstand and take it as what I shall do first, what I shall do is next, etc. This is not the priorities I'm meaning of. I've always said priorities as the need behind the desire. Someone says, I want a job. I say, great. Why do you want a job? Because I want to make some money. I say, open a vada pav stall. You'll make lots of money. The Chembur post office vada pav stall, character makes 10,000 rupees a day. Profit. Then he says, no, Swamiji, I can't do that. I said, why not? You wanted money. That character works only for 4-5 hours in a day. He comes away about 4:30, by 8:30, 9 he is knocked off. You also can do the same. Why not? Says Swamiji, there is no social standing there. So now it is clearer. The job was the desire. The need behind it is not only money, not only financial independence, also social standing, etc. So that is what I mean by priorities. The need behind the desire. So when your immediate goal is connected with your priorities and you are acting towards it, with action there is Ishwararpana Buddhi, with result there is Prasada Buddhi. When this happens, it's Karma Yoga. This is called technically Karma Phala Tyaga. So what is the benefit of that? Benefit of that is growth. Benefit of that is immediate peace. Because anxiety, worry, etc. is managed. That's why he says, Tyagat Shantir Anantaram. With that Tyaga Buddhi coming in, Ishwararpana and Prasada Buddhi coming in, there is Shanti. So that becomes the base for your pursuit of meditation, etc. That is why Shreyo hi Jnanam Abhyasat. Jnanam is what is Shreyas you are aiming for. For that you may need repeatedness. That is Abhyasa. But Jnana Dhyanam Vishishyate. Why are you saying Dhyanam is more important than Jnanam? Because Dhyanam is a means to integrate that Jnanam into your life. You contemplate to integrate it into your life. But contemplation you can do only if you have a peaceful mind. That you get by Karma Phala Yoga. By Karma Yoga Buddhi, Karma Phala Tyaga technically. So there is a nice logical flow. It looks contradictory, but there is a nice logical flow in it. This is what it is about. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Any other questions, clarifications? Or it's all clear? Up to the, which one we do? 15th verse, yeah. Clear up to here? Okay, then let us go ahead. Anapekshaha suchir dakshaha udasino gatavyataha sarvarambha parityagi yo madbhakta same priyaha. This is like describing one who has already gained the knowledge, okay? One who has already gained the knowledge. After having lived in this manner, he has gained this knowledge. That person. What is that? Anapekshaha. He is completely independent. What do you mean independent? For the sake of happiness, he is not dependent on anything. He may be such a champion, he may be dependent on his wife for a cup of coffee. That's a different dependence, okay? That's a practical thing that goes on, okay? For the sake of happiness, Ananda, because he has discovered himself as the source of Ananda. Okay, he has discovered himself as the source of Ananda. But therefore, anapekshaha. Your happiness is not dependent on anything. At the most, those situations can manifest the Ananda that you are. That'll always happen. You think when a wise person goes and has a nice Christmas meal, Ananda doesn't manifest? It manifests in anticipation of the meal. It manifests while eating the food. It manifests more after that when he's catching a nap. So it's only you are already Ananda. Therefore, nothing can contribute or take away from Ananda that you are. Therefore, you are not dependent on anything for Ananda. Practical things we are all dependent. If you are living in a city, you are dependent on everything and everyone. Why? The city consumes the water which it doesn't have. Water comes from outside the city. It consumes electricity which is produced outside. It consumes food which is produced outside. So, city people are consumers of things all the way. You are dependent. If you are living in a city, you are dependent on 101 things. You are dependent on the transport, public transport, you are dependent on the infrastructure of roads, etc. What are you not dependent on? But those are all practical dependencies. We are not talking about that. We are talking about depending for Ananda. Okay. For the sake of joy and fulfillment, you are already fulfilled. Abhi kya hai? You are already this thing. The job has been done. Okay. Therefore, anapekshaha. Suchihi, clean, intention wise. Doesn't want to exploit anyone. Yeah. Yeah. No anger, no hatred, no guilt. All that has been taken care of as a student itself. Guilt, no pain, taken care of. Psychological growth has happened long back. And now the fulfillment of self-knowledge is there. Therefore, suchihi, clean. Can a wise person do a wrong action? Inadvertently, yes. Inadvertently. Not because of intention. Okay. Suchihi. Dakshaha. Capable. Capable of what? That's also important, no? You put me in front of a piano. Swamiji, please play. Play what? I only see this thing there. Yeah. Yeah. What do you play? Yeah. So, Daksha you have to understand in context. Yeah. He is capable of knowing the truth, capable of revealing it for people. Daksha. Yeah. That is a special capability. Only few have it. Okay. Only few have it. Of knowing and revealing. Therefore, Dakshaha in that sense. Okay. Udasinaha. Udasinaha very often is translated as neutral, indifferent, etc. There is an Udasin Sampradaya among the sadhus also. The great Vairagis. It's a Vairagi Sampradaya. Okay. Yeah. In fact, it's very interesting to digress a bit. There's an Udasin Sampradaya ashram in Haridwar. Okay. Near, just outside Haridwar, Motichur station. Okay. Going to the Bharat Mata temple on that road. There is an Udasina Sampradaya. So I gone there for Bhiksha. Wow, my youngest student is also listening to this class. Yes, she's only a couple of months old. No, how long? How old now?
2.5 months.
2.5 months, yeah. Not even 90 days. Yes. So, Udasina Sampradaya, okay. So in this ashram, if you go for bhiksha, they'll call. हाँ महाराज जी, आजा बैठिए. You are not supposed to sit cross-legged on the floor. You squat on your haunches. And you're sitting along the wall, so you can lean back against the wall if you want. That much dependency you can take. Okay. Then they'll come around serving rotis first. And where do you take the rotis? In a plate or in a leaf or something? Karatala bhiksha, in your hand. Rotis are put on your hand. Then sabji will come around. And the sabji goes where? On top of the rotis. हाँ महाराज जी, अभी भोजन शुरू करेंगे. Why? Udasi, not depending on anything, minimal dependence. Karatala bhiksha tarutala vasaha. Kasya sukham na karoti viragaha. Shankara in Bhajagovindam says that. Bhiksha in your hands, where is your address? Under the tree. Under the tree. Kasya sukham na karoti viraga. It is true, if you let that life, yes. But that apart, what is highlighted here is, udasinaha means, it is not literally indifference. Let us say that little one, my little student, okay, he is going to grow up. And she is my little student. How can she not be mischievous? So Adi and Swati is trying to handle her mischievousness. And then she is growing and walking and all that thing. Now she is struggling to walk. And naturally she will fall. You fall 1,000 times before you learn to walk. So when she falls, is Adi going to go and rush and pick her up? Or going to let her be? She has to go through that struggle and grow. That's the only way her legs will become strong enough to support her weight as she grows up. Now, when you are watching that baby, that little one, barely a year old, trying to take her first steps, what is your attitude? You care, you love, but you are not interfering. You are letting it be. Only then will the child learn to walk. Once in South India, I went to this businessman's family. Very nice people, excellent people. Lot of support they are given to our ashram in Coimbatore and everything. And they were telling me before I went there, my grandson, he's 2-year-old and not walking. So I said, 2-year-old and not walking, ye to thoda gadbad hai. Because by the time she start making attempts to walk around 10 months or whatever. So I said, okay, when I see the child, so I went there and I'm talking to the people, but I'm watching the kid. And I find that the kid is never placed on the floor. Either the grandmother or the mother or the maid or the servant or somebody is carrying the kid along all the time. And the kid is heavily overweight also because of that. Can you imagine overweight problems at 2 years old? So I say simple, get this child a walker. The child can sit and walk. Because the child's leg has to develop his strength. That 1 year it should have been walking, he has not been walking. Why? Over-concerned parents and grandparents. Plus maids, etc. also. The problem of being rich. Okay. And not learning to let it be. So once the kid was placed on that walker, suddenly the kid found his mobility. So the weight is being supported by the walker, but it can moving his legs and running all over the place. It goes and crashes against something also, but there's not a problem because there's a ring of protection around. So in another few months, it was walking normally. Why? Because the value of audacinum was not there with the parents and grandparents. So Adi, don't get the child a walker. Huh? Let it walk normally first. Yeah. So that udasinam is that you love, you care, but you let things be. That attitude of the parent to the child when the child is learning to walk. Udasinam is an example, it's an illustration of udasinam. You think we don't see students making mistakes, burning their fingers, especially when you're dealing with younger students? So look at each other and say, Reva de, Reva de. Somehow I like that Gujarati expression. Reva de, let it be, let it be. Yes, to make a few mistakes to learn, it is good. It's good to make those mistakes. Like I remember, I attended this small intimate wedding some years ago, where the mother had made all the wedding arrangements and everything. She was doing a good job of it. So, and the ceremony was going on. I was sitting next to the mother and father. So I told the mother, "You are not very happy with this wedding." She said, "Yes, Swamiji, I am not. I don't give it more than 6 months." He says, "Then why did you agree with the whole thing?" He says, "Well, otherwise my daughter would have run away and got married. So I think she need to go through this and learn her lessons." And the mother was right. Forget 6 months, it broke up in 3 months. But the child learns its lessons. And then after a couple of years, the child got married again. Very happy marriage. Great kids they have, everything. Look at that mother's attitude. Knowingly, willingly allowed the child to make a mistake, to learn, because the child was not listening to what was being explained. You do get to become a little bit stubborn when you fall in love, you know. Every couple that falls in love thinks we have reinvented love. Nobody understands love like how we do. Look back into your past, we all have gone through that process. Sometimes more than once. It takes some time to realize we are just like any other couple. We will also fight and things like that and eat each other's heads. Yeah, it takes some time. And sometimes you realize you are not compatible. Then you wonder whether you should work on it and make it work, or you should part ways. Either way, whatever works for you, works for you. So I also see this happening. And I think to myself, Mia Bivi Raji, tu kya karege Kasi? ठीक है, mistake करने दो. Not that I will not point out, of course I will. But then let it be. Udasinam. This is called udasinam. Not about taking charge and taking control and doing. Relax. Relax. Growth has to happen at its own pace. Yeah. In its own way. That's called udasinam. I hope you understand that word now. What it means. Not indifference, not being neutral, etc. This attitude is udasinam. Gatavyataha. Gatavyataha. All fear, anxiety, etc. gone. All fear, etc. gone. What is there to be afraid of? I don't have birth or death or anything. At the same time, you will take your precautions. You are not going to stand in the middle of the road and say, I don't have birth or death. In the middle of the highway, okay? Yeah. Or go about without wearing a mask. These are normal precautions as a human being you are supposed to take. That does not indicate fear. It only indicates a healthy caution as far as this body is concerned. But that fear of loss, etc., what is there for you to lose? Everything is in you. That limitless consciousness is what you are, so what is there to be scared of? What is there to be afraid of? Fear comes from a sense of loss and not being able to handle that loss. Yeah, every morning we all have a sense of loss. The garbage is picked up and taken away by the cleaner. But you are happy with that. But if I am losing something and I cannot handle it, then the fear comes. From the standpoint of the absolute, what is there to lose? Absolutely nothing. What is there to lose? You have nothing to lose. Everything happens in you alone. This is like, it was this guy, on the weekend, nice, hatta gatta mota character, what Indians describe as very healthy guy, actually very unhealthy. He's going to raid the fridge and he's opened the fridge. And he's looking, arey, kuch hai nahi there sab, everything it's all gone. There's no food in the fridge. Then he hears a voice from the bedroom. What you are looking for is inside you. All the food and the sweets he's been looking for, you have already eaten up. It's all inside you. So similarly, what do you have to lose? Nothing. Yeah. So where is vyatha? Where is fear? Not there. Nothing to be afraid of. Yeah. Like Chief Vital Statistics from Asterix Comics used to say, there is nothing to be scared of except the sky falling down. The only thing to be scared. Nothing to be scared of. All the French, the Gauls, etc. we will handle. No problems. So when he says there is nothing to be scared of except the sky falling down, that means there is really nothing to be scared of. Afraid of. Because there is nothing to lose or gain for that matter. Therefore, gatavyataha. Sarvaramba parityagihi. Don't take this literally, okay? Some new students of Vedanta will try to take this literally. New committed students. Aramba parityagi. Aramba meaning beginnings. Parityagi is given up. He doesn't initiate any activities. Sarva aramba, all activity. Therefore, all beginnings given up, meaning no more initiating any fresh activity. Don't take it literally. It is discovering yourself as akarta abhokta. 4th chapter. Karmani akarma pashyet akarmani karmayaha. That's what it should be referred to. That actionlessness. Not to be taken literally as not doing anything. No. Sarva aramba parityagi is actionlessness. Yo bhaktaha, such a bhaktaha, same priyaha. What priya is one with him, okay? The love has fulfilled itself, that bhakti has fulfilled itself into the discovery of oneness there. Okay. Then the famous verse coming in here. Yo na harshyati na dveshti, na shochati na kankshati, shubha shubha parityagi, bhaktiman yasame priyaha. Yo na harshyati. One who is not elated. He got what he wants and he is in the 7th heaven of delight. If you are in the 7th heaven of delight, what will happen? You will go into the depths of depression. No, you are happy with things, of course. And the ananda that you are will manifest itself, yes, but that's it. Na harshyati. Na dveshti, does not hate anyone, does not dislike. It's okay. There's an acceptance. Okay. Na shochati, doesn't grieve over anything. But Swamiji, you have lost such a nice student. Yeah, I was expecting it. Yeah, I lost a nice student. She used to be here in this class. Yeah. You don't have grief? As a human being, yes. And as a person who knows the truth, you're free from it simultaneously. Yeah. When I'm teaching, there is neither birth nor death. How can you grieve over death? Yeah, you'll miss the person. Of course, you'll miss. That's it. Yeah. Because today, as I said, we met for lunch and everyone is talking about her also. Jaya, I'm talking about Jaya. Many of you knew her. Yeah. So, na shochati. Yeah. Okay. Na kankshati. Okay. It doesn't have longings for anything. Doesn't have longings. Yeah. Why? You are already Ananda Baba. But you do so many things, you desire to set up an ashram, this, that, etc. What about that? We're taking the parampara forward. If it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, Ishvara Ichha. Maybe the future generation do not deserve the parampara coming from me. Okay. Yeah. That's it. Ishvara Ichha, not mine. Na kankshati, na shochati, na kankshati. Shubha Shubha Parityagi. What is Shubham and what is Ashubham? What is auspiciousness and what is auspiciousness? Yeah. When everything is manifestation of Ishvara, what is not auspicious? You tell me that first. What is not auspicious? Everything is auspicious. Yeah. What is not? Yeah. So all these type of this thing, Or you can take Shubha Ashubham as Shubha Ashubha Karma. When I am Akarta, Bhokta, what are you talking about? Shubha Karma or Ashubha Karma? Dono nahi hai. Punya Papa, dono nahi hai. Both are not there. Yeah, both are not there. Shubha Shubha Parityagi. Okay. All this is a description of a wise person, okay? This is not description of a seeker. This is a description of a wise person. Same Priyaha. Such a person is very dear to me. Then he is continuing the description. From various facets so that you will understand that this is the goal that you can be. This is what you can be. Once you integrate the knowledge into your life, this is a picture of what you are. The core of your personality will be this. Embellishments will be different. Someone will be a writer, someone will be an author, someone will be an engineer, someone will be a lawyer, someone will be a sadhu good for nothing. That's all. That is all the embellishments that come. Okay? Yeah. Samashatrau cha mitre cha tatha manava panayoho sitoshna sukha dukkheshu samasanga vivarjitah. Shatrau cha mitre cha. He who sees the same in the friend and the foe. Swamiji, what are you talking about? You will treat the terrorist exactly like how you will treat the soldier? No. For the soldier, my respect. For the terrorist, my bullets. But I see the same in both. The same consciousness that is there in the terrorist is the same consciousness that is there in the soldier. Both are non-different from that consciousness. One mind has a very healthy value structure, the other man's mind is conditioned, corrupted. Therefore, the difference of personality, difference of behavior, and therefore difference of my response to that person. That's all. But you see the same. The terror is also non-different from that consciousness. And therefore, as from the standpoint of the consciousness, he and I are one and the same. the terrorists. I'm not talking of your in-laws, I'm talking of something much worse, okay? The terrorists. Yeah. The rapist, the murderers, hang them up. Yeah. Like they used to say in the Wild West, hang them up from the closest tree. That's what they deserve. Rough justice. Correct. But they say same consciousness, and as consciousness they are not different from you. Samashatraucha mitrecha. Look at it, that's why he's using the words. There is a perceived enemy, there is a perceived friend. But you see the same in everything. Your behavior is not the same. Your understanding. You transcend your behavior by your understanding. Tatha mana avamanayoho. Mana apamanayoho. In praise or criticism, you are the same. This guy's opinion here is entitled to it. Even functionally speaking, from the relative sense, someone praises you, he is praising you from his standpoint. No? May or may not be the truth. Similarly, the criticism, from his standpoint, may or may not be the truth. As a seeker, it is good to examine and see whether there is any truth in it. Which the wise person also automatically will do. But you're not affected by it. Why? Because your sense of self-esteem is not based on that guy's opinion. This is not an arrogance. This can be mistaken as an arrogance. You listen to the feedback. You listen to that calmly, quietly. Okay, fine, let me examine it. Not valid. Fine. Valid, corrective action. But you are the same. You are not upset by that. Remember, your Ananda always. Ananda is receiving some criticism or Ananda is receiving some praise. Ananda is always Ananda. Ananda doesn't change. There's an interesting story about Buddha like this. So Buddha went to a village and they gave him galis and all and literally drove him and his students away. So his student went up to him and said, Buddha, what are these villagers? Look at how they are treating us so badly. How can you remain so calm and peaceful? They're giving you galis and everything. We can't remain. He says, and what happened to the previous village that we were in the afternoon? Oh, they were so nice. They brought us food and fruits and things like that. They're so nice people. And what did you see me doing with the food and the fruits? You took what you wanted and distributed the remaining to the villagers. Exactly. Here I didn't want anything. I didn't take anything. Everything I left with the villagers. All the galis and the criticism. Tavaiva vaha tava nritya gite. Let all your dance and music remain with you, not with me. Don't internalize. We internalize and that is our problem. We internalize too much. Yeah. There is always a time for assertive behavior. Okay, now be careful in this. Don't take this thing too far. People don't understand boundaries unless you set it up. Good boundaries make good relationships. So sometimes if the boundaries are being trampled upon, you have to push back. Okay, you have to push back. And you have to be assertive, stand up for yourself. So harmonize that behavior and understand what is inside. Okay. Okay. Mana upamana yoho. Sitoshna sukha dukkheshu. Cold and heat. Sukha and sorrow. Comfort, discomfort. You mean to say the wise person doesn't feel cold? I am limitless consciousness. I stop feeling cold. Your nerves don't die, okay? Your nerves don't die. Because you gain knowledge. Of course you'll feel it. Of course you'll feel the heat. Naturally. Once I did a trek in the Thar desert, a desert trek. Is it hot? Of course it's hot. You did it, huh? Maja aaya. But it must have been very hot. Of course it is hot. Then why did you do it? Because I wanted to know the hot heat. You can be hot and bothered or just hot. What do you want to be? And that bothered part is knocked off. You will recognize the heat and accept it. Yeah. You will recognize the cold and accept it. In winter, what do you expect? Not to be cold or what? In Bombay, of course, we pretend there is a winter. Then nowadays, a little bit winter effect is seen. Temperatures are dropping to 18, 19, etc. But 18, 19 is day temperatures in Rishikesh, not night temperatures. Night temperatures on a good day will touch 0. On a good day, okay? Yeah. So, of course, it's winter, bound to be cold. So, you accept it and enjoy the cold and that's it. So, similarly, Sitoshna, Sukha Dukkha. Sukha Dukkha, same thing. You are living a human life. In a human life, there will be experiences that are conducive to Sukha or conducive to Dukkha. Bound to be there. So, what do you do when a sad event happens? A sad event happens, you will empathize with all the people who have a sense of loss, etc. Be there for them, console them, help them get out of the grief. That's what you will do. You will not be going as a grinning idiot and saying, Kahan birth hai, kahan death hai, where is birth, where is death? Hey, idiot. If any of my students ever does that, they'll get a whack from me that very instant. Guaranteed. Then he'll know what Sukha and Dukkha is. Yeah. So, you will take it in your stride. Remember your Ananda. Ananda going through a happy experience, Ananda going through a miserable experience. You are Ananda all the time. Sukha Dukkeshu Samaha. Sitoshna Sukha Dukkeshu Samaha. And Sangha Vivarjitaha. You are free from your emotional dependencies. You are free from the need of company. What is the biggest problem in this pandemic? I can't meet people here. I can't meet. Yeah, you can't meet people. Are you okay with that? How can you be okay? Of course you can be okay. Would you like to meet people? Of course you would like to meet people. Are you okay without that? Of course you are. Yeah. Are you getting the idea? That need, it's a pleasure, not a need. The whole world is a luxury for you. Whole world is a pleasure for you. It's not a need. Then you can enjoy the world, not a problem. If company is a pleasure, but not a need, you really enjoy that company well. If it's a need, then that enjoyment is touched with anxiety, worry, dependency, etc. It corrupts that experience of pure joy that you can have. Really. You are in love with somebody and the need, you need that person. Then imagine what will happen if there is a small conflict or something. The need gets higher, the conflicts also become bigger. Because all your fear, your anxiety, all that comes and corrupts the love. Sangha Vivarjitaha. Yeah. Sangha Vivarjitaha. The dependency is gone, you can enjoy what is there. Yeah. Okay, continuing the idea. I am sure this is all clear to people now, right? Okay. Tulya ninda sutir maunihi santushta yena kenachit aniketaha stiramatihi bhaktiman priyo naraha. Same thing. Krishna is waxing eloquent here. Or rather Vyasa is doing it. Tulya ninda sutihi. In praise and censure, tulyaha. It has come before. Mana, apamana, same thing. Tulya Ninda Sutihi. Mauni. Oh my God. Every wise person should stop speaking afterwards. Then who is going to teach other wise people? That Maunam is what? That inner chattering that goes on constantly in your mind. No? You are in touch with the silence that you are. Remember in our meditations we did this? You are the silence in spite of thinking. You are in touch with that. You are at home with that. When you are talking this, that, etc., it's all coming from the depth of the silence that you are. The silence awareness that you are awake to that. Mauni, that's called Maunam. Your silence, whether you are speaking or whether you are hearing, both places you are the same, Mauni. That is called Mauni here. Okay? Santushtaha yena kenachit. He is happy with whatever comes to him. Happy with whatever comes to him. I mean, this attitude is very high in the sadhus and Rishikesh, you know. Those who are living on Bhiksha and all that, those days. महाराज जी आज कैसा देता? अरे बहुत बढ़िया था, भंडारा था. संतुष्टः. After that 2-3 days में महाराज जी आज कैसा? अरे बहुत बढ़िया था, एकादशी मनाया. He didn't get any भिक्षा. बढ़िया था, एकादशी मनाया. Yeah. Santushtaha. Now that is an extreme standpoint. Okay, for us relatively it's different. Okay, now you understand the context. You understand the context. Santushtaha. Yeah. Okay. Aniketaha. Aniketaha. Okay, Aniketaha. One without a home. Homeless. Is he literally homeless? Not literally. He may be also. He may be also. Yeah, I have plenty of sadhus who don't have a home to their name. Why do you need it? The Rishikesh ka Baba hu. Ghar kiske liye? In fact, you never ask a sadhu in Rishikesh. This is a sadhu language. Where is your home? You'll never ask. Where is your house? Maharaj ji, aapke aasan kaha hai? Where have you spread your meditation seat? Unless you are a modern yogi, then you are carrying your meditation seat with you all the time. Okay. आपके आसन कहा है. Meaning, you own nothing. Your house? What do you mean? I don't own this body. What do I own a house? It came to you by some logic, it's going to go away from you by some logic, or you are going to go away from it by some logic. Yeah. That's it. You own nothing. In this lifetime, you possess a few things. That's it. You own nothing. Yeah. You own nothing. Nothing is yours. Yeah. I had told this champion to call me after 6:30. But sometimes people get anxious, you know, so that, yeah. Aniketaha. Okay. Stiramatihi. His mind is established in this knowledge. Otherwise, you cannot be all of the above, okay? Stiramatihi. Mind is established in the knowledge. Sacha bhaktiman me priyaha. This is the ultimate bhakta. He says, this is the ultimate bhakta. One who has discovered, jnani tu atmaeva me matam. He had said that earlier. The same thing is being echoed here. Ye tu dharmyam amritamidam yathoktam paryupasate shraddhadhana mat parama bhaktaste ativa me priyaha. Ye tu idam dharmyam amritam. This dharma of mind, this jnanam, dharma here stands for the knowledge, for the teaching. Okay. Idam dharmyam amritam, that gives you immortality, that gives you ananda, fullness that you are. It gives you that. Yathoktam, as I said, paryupasate. He worships it. Worships meaning? Worships it within your life. You are bringing it in your life. Means you are listening to the Gita. You are studying the Gita. You are discussing about the Gita. You are living a life of Karma Yoga or Sannyasa, either one. Such a person, he says, Shraddadana. He's got great Shraddha in the teaching. This will work for me. I'm sure about that. I'm confident. I have the trust that this has worked for hundreds of generations before me. It will work for me as well. How many generations in 5,000 years? For all of them it has worked. Therefore it will work for me also. Shraddadana. Mat Parama. Keeping me as absolute goal. Tacha Bhaktaha. Ativa me Priyaha. So all the students are also included now, okay? Ativa me Priyaha. They are very greatly, I love them very greatly because they are on track to becoming one with me. They are on track. They are on track, he says. Yeah. Yeah. Right. It is not that, oh, I don't do so much of puja part as somebody else does. Therefore, that character is more beloved to the Lord than me. No, that's not true. You are studying the Gita and trying to live it, na? Yeah. So, ativa me priyaha. Yeah, the students not feel left out. Okay. Yeah, and he honestly means it also. Ativa me priyaha. Okay. With this, Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishatsu, Brahma Vidya Yoga Shastra, Brahma Vidya and Yoga Shastra, which deals Brahma Vidya, the knowledge of the truth, Yoga Shastra, managing the mind, etc. Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade, in the form of a dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. Bhakti Yogo Nama, called Bhakti Yoga, Dashamodhyaya, Dvadashodhyaya. The 12th chapter comes to an end. So the next class, we can start the 13th chapter. 13th chapter is a very interesting chapter. Okay, we'll start that next class. That will be on, which day will it be? Oh, first itself.
New Year.
All of you want the class on first or don't want the class? 31st night celebrations going too long? Or you'll recover in time for the class?
Now you can have class.
Yeah, if you all will recover in time for the class, we'll have the class. Okay. Okay. So we'll have the class. On first we'll start the 13th chapter. If there are any questions, any clarifications, any doubts, please ask me then. Okay. Good place to stop. Om Tat Sat.
Pranam Swamiji.